Bombaclat. Rasclat. Pussyclat. What is it? Steamed vagina. You guys ever see that one? Steam vagina. Oh, busclat, bombaclat. I meant to steam a vegetable. How do you say steamed vagina from steamed vegetable? It doesn't even make any sense. But we ain't here to dissect that. What do you think you're fucking dealing with, Joey Bananas? We're back, gentlemen. We're back from the Indy 500. We got to see the city of Indianapolis. It's a bit of another hiatus. I know I've been doing a lot of trips lately, but gentlemen, sometimes it's important that you travel the world, gain a bit of experience after staring at the charts for years on end, positioning ourselves fantastically for the next leg up of the bull run. You know, just a little something here and there. It's good to spend a little bit of time with a gentleman. Indy 500 was off the charts, went from straight from the race, straight to the Pacers and Knicks game with literally minutes to spare. We got off of the bus at the corner, jumped on bird scooters and ripped it over to the basketball stadium. Got in just as they were going into introductions for the players. And then definitely got to see the town of Indianapolis intimately that weekend. So what a trip, but we're back. And we don't have any trips scheduled for quite a while until I move into my new place in a new city. I'll be moving to Miami very shortly. First, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. Big, beautiful house there. You guys can see it on the Instagram. Multi-million-dollar mansion. No big deal. Naeem, no big deal. Lived there for quite a while. Now we're moving to Miami. Okay? But until Miami, no more trips. We're locked in. We're ready for war. We're ready for war. So let's get right into the charts. Let's not bullshit. Let's not dilly-dally. Let's talk about what the fuck's making us money right now. Okay? So we're currently in a bit of a pullback. But look at how quickly this shit's getting eaten up on the pullback. All right? Let's put this up. Do a little Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer. And we're getting right into the fun shit. We're going right into altcoins. High risk assets. Forget Bitcoin. Forget Ethereum. We're talking about the altcoins. Boom. Hold on. Pull this up and boom. Here we go. Boom. PURR. Let's start with HYPE. HYPE and then PURR, right? HYPE. You guys get it yet? Have you understood the relationship yet? Hyper liquid, right? It's hyper liquid. Well, they have HYPE token and they have PURR token. HYPE, PURR. You guys get it yet? There you go. Congratulations. Look at this shit. Altcoins are getting ready to absolutely go on a ripper as soon as Bitcoin confirms its price discovery break and we rip up to all-time highs. Altcoins are ready to send. We've been looking at Hyperliquid since it's hit this mid-range, talking about how it's been a leader in the market. HYPE and Fartcoin have been the leader altcoins. Okay? Now, Fartcoin actually has not broken out yet the same way that HYPE has. I believe Fartcoin will. Okay? It will. We were accumulating inside of the Discord. For those of you that are not inside, rookie fucking mistake. I suppose you don't like to make that much money. But for those of you inside the private Discord, accumulating Fartcoin right in here. Okay? Who the fuck is calling me? Did you guys know I'm in the middle of the most important live stream this generation has ever seen? Okay. Accumulating Fartcoin right down in here. Right on top of this demand zone. Who could have foreseen that this was the demand zone? So look, we topped out in here. We bottomed out in here. Clear demand zone. We bounced right here. Bottomed out in here. Boom. Turn this into support. It went from support, resistance, broke out of it, come back, retest, turn it back into support. Once we turn this back into the support, we knew, okay, this is likely getting ready to move higher with the market. Look at what it's done. So we're up quite a bit on Fartcoin. Now, it hasn't broken out yet. Over here, I gave you guys on stream an opportunity for another entry. So the chart looked like this. So Fartcoin is trading up in here. I said, this is your demand, and I drew it over. And I said, if you come back into this demand zone, this is likely your entry for Fartcoin. Look what happened. We come back into the demand. You can guys go back and look at the live streams. The proof is there. Came right back into the demand. This is where you would wanted to have been aping to get your position in Fartcoin. Well, let's see. You get it back down in here. You topped out 38%. Now you're up 10%. Okay. If this retests this demand zone right in here, once again, I'd be refilling more of your position before we end up breaking out. Okay. So Fartcoin looks ready to rip. But HYPE took the show. HYPE, and this is why I'm really excited about this beta train. I'm only talking about it now on stream because if the men and women inside of the Discord, the Taylor's Code, have had access to this play for a bit now. So now I'm going to talk about it on stream. HYPE is the native token for Hyperliquid, the decentralized exchange. Okay, Hyperliquid is probably one of the best pieces of decentralized tech across the entire crypto sphere. Okay, decentralized meaning that there's no KYC, there's no control of a company, etc. It's not like a Coinbase, a Robinhood, etc. It is decentralized exchange that operates on chain. So people can trade perps there, you can trade spot assets, you can do staking, use saver vaults, etc. Fantastic tech, fantastic. So recently, Hyperliquid airdropped their new native token to their users that did a ton of volume. Airdropped it right here in December. Boom, ran up immediately as soon as the airdrop dropped, ran up immediately to this top of this range at $32. Great fucking play if you got the airdrop. Then, as everything died, it also died. Look where it came back down to, though. Perfect retest of the opening price. It goes from $35 all the way back down to $10, we'll call it, okay? And creates this very clear range, mid-range right here, and then bottom of the range, okay? As this started coming back up, this is where you want to be accumulating this. Clear strength, clear leader in the altcoin market. So we've been following this, and we've been saying, oh, look at this, look at this. Then look, I had this drawn out over here. Right, I pulled this all the way across. I said, this is your clear level, right? This is your clear supply zone up above. Why? Because we broke down from here, and every time we came back up into the supply zone, we immediately rejected every single time. Clearly, this was your supply, okay? So from the other side, when we came back through and we were chewing through the supply, look what happens. We pumped right past the mid-range, 1, 2, 3 green candles, and then as soon as we get into the supply, this is where you get all the sell pressure. Sell pressure, sell pressure, sell pressure. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, this looks like it's about to rip. This looks like it's about to ascend because it's eating through the supply. And if we break through the supply, who could have foreseen? Boom, green candle, boom, pump. Look at this. TA works, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to show you some volume here. Does not let me use volume. Unbelievable. Okay, let's see if they can do the fixed volume range. Hold on. Will it let me? No, it's not giving me volume for this chart. Okay, fine. Point is, though, is the volume for sellers was coming out in here. We got through, we chewed through the entire supply. Look at this. As soon as we broke that supply zone, boom, 1, 2, 3, retest the top of this range, right? Retest it. Broke out, but then we didn't quite hit the 1.618. We're starting to pull back now. So likely, I would say at the lowest entry you get for HYPE would be back up onto this top of the range, about $32 would be your entry. And then we go to the 1.618 and above if we keep ripping, okay? So why is this important? Well, HYPE right now is the strongest altcoin in the altcoin market, showing the most strength, the most reason for people to bid. So if you didn't get into HYPE, or HYPE is too large of a market cap for you and you want to be more degenerate, more beta, get more multiples on your money because you don't have, $1 million to put into HYPE, what could you trade? Well, you could trade PURR. This is HYPE, so then you can trade PURR. PURR is the now essentially beta to HYPE. So PURR is the meme coin that HYPE had also dropped, okay? This one had the opposite trajectory as HYPE. So right when it was launched, as opposed to pumping, right when it was launched, it was sold off. and bled and bled and bled and bled and bled and bled until it finally curled out and bottomed out down in here. So in March, April was when it started curling back up. Okay. This is a long rounding out pattern. These patterns are fantastic for very easy high RR swing trades. Okay. If it makes sense for it to pump again, which it did. This turned out to be one of the most exciting and best beta plays that came out recently. Why? Because the native token HYPE is a clear winner. It's a clear pump. Well, if HYPE's pumping and ripping, what would be a clear beta? Because the market always has an appetite for beta once they miss the alpha. People think, oh, I missed HYPE already. I missed that play. It already broke out. It's going to the 1.618 fib. What can I invest in as a beta to HYPE? This was the obvious bet. And it's a very high RR play. Why? Because it has this long bottoming out pattern for it to start to rip. So let me put HYPE below. Let me put HYPE below. KuCoin Bybit, crypto. Here we go. Okay. Let's look at this. So you can see they both sort of bottomed at the same time. We'll use this right here. Yep. So they both bottom effectively at the same time. Okay. And as HYPE, and you can see, look, this is actually a pretty clear beta. Look at this. So starting here, where's my fucking arrow? Starting here, you can see it was a pretty clear beta play. So it was boom. So that's the path it took. Okay. This is how you know it's a beta play. When it starts trading the same way as the alpha. So as the alpha was bleeding down, so was PURR. Right? So PURR gets this little pump right here, little pump. Okay, dies. HYPE dies, PURR dies. HYPE gets this little pump right here, little release pump. PURR got this release pump. HYPE dies, PURR dies. HYPE moves up here, PURR moves up here, all the way straight over here. Same place, look, same exact spot. Comes down a bit, pumps straight up, PURR pumps straight up. Okay, HYPE is pulling back a bit, PURR is pulling back a bit. Okay, so this is a confirmed beta. Great, we love that. You want it to be a confirmed beta. You want it to trade just like the alpha. Okay, it's moving the same as the alpha. Here's the difference. As the alpha, though, moves up, why would you hold the beta? Well, from the lows, let's take a look. From the low to the high, you got a 4.5x on HYPE. We'll call it a 4.3x, 4x. On PURR, you got a 6x, almost double what you would have made on HYPE. That's huge. So the point I'm trying to make is it's not only beta to HYPE, but it's also going to be higher leverage than HYPE. Beautiful. So if you miss the HYPE trade, you can run PURR, PURR. Okay. Now you got to get it on the Hyperliquid exchange though. Okay. The spot asset. So that's why you would be holding PURR as a beta to HYPE. Beautiful. They're trading the same way. So if HYPE is clearly a winner on this next leg up and people are having an appetite to bid it, then you want to have exposure to either HYPE or even better, PURR if you miss the HYPE trade. And so this is what PURR's been doing. So it's up 6x off of the lows. 6x already off of the lows. Off of the lows already. You get a pullback here. I already sit inside the Discord. These are your two bid zones. And then it actually just today was already down right in here. And look at how quickly it got sucked up. It already made it down here today. And it's only 12:30, right? It already wicked all the way down here, right, and tried to come down under supply. And look at how much of an appetite there is for people to bid this. This is the clear supply zone. This would have been the clear retest tag. They already front ran it and sucked it all the way back up to 26.5, 26 cents and 5. Down here was at 24.5, so 2 cents lower. So they already sucked it up. As soon as we were coming back down into the supply zone, it got front ran, boom, already got sucked back up into here. We're trying to get it to climb back into this supply and then actually break out, which will be confluent with a breakout on HYPE, okay? So I'm giving you guys a fantastic beta play. Now, is it higher than where I called it out on in the Discord? 100%. I called it out in the Discord lower. And that's the advantage of being a part of the actual organization, so you get these plays before they start to run. And run hard. Okay? So, PURR is the beta to HYPE. Okay? So that's number one. HYPE is still showing incredible strength. PURR showing incredible strength amidst this pullback. Altcoin and showing incredible strength. Altcoin just hasn't had that parabolic move yet that HYPE is starting to see, and that PURR is starting to see right here. Obviously, just straight up, boom, 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 getting a pullback. You know, you should have been grabbing it right in here. Again, I put these price targets inside the Discord, so they already knew about this. But this was the area you want to be bidding in, just to basically fill some of this inefficient move, this FVG, fair value gap. Come back in, refill some of that with a wick. Right? And then boom, send it up higher. Okay? So that's HYPE and PURR. Bangers. What else am I loving right now? Let's take a look at equities. Okay, very interesting thing happening with equities. So we had drawn on SPX this trend line that we figured was going to happen. So we call this move, boom, and we expected to pull back all the way into here. Why into this black line? Well, into this black line because we had a naked point of control, which would be on this one. From the nuke up into here. Nope, it's not from that spot. Where did I draw it from? Maybe it was from here. Interesting. Interesting. So this must have moved since I drew this. Yeah, because this was up in here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So it was probably I drew it from here then. So why did I have this drawn out? The naked point of control changed because we have new data from this move up in here. But I had this black ray drawn out on the chart because originally when I drew this fixed volume profile, this naked point of control where the most volume was taking place was where this black ray was, okay? So that would have been a major point to have to break through and reclaim in order for us to go to new all-time highs again on SPX, on equities, right? So look what we did. We actually did reject. Look, where did we reject it here? We came right up into this naked point of control. We rejected, came back down, pushed back up into it, kind of pushed back down, and then boom, broke through it. So shows you that it was a point of control. That was where a ton of volume was going. So a lot of people were going to be defending these positions at this price point. We broke through it with conviction. Beautiful. We broke up through this overhead supply. So I turned it into demand. So I was expecting a further pullback into that naked point of control again and then pushing back up higher. It doesn't look like we might actually get that pullback, because it came back into this demand zone, and right at the bottom of the demand, it actually bounced back up again. Now, that doesn't mean we can't just roll over here later and then come back down into it. That's possible. But this looks good. We had green candle here on Thursday. Big green candle here on Tuesday after markets opened up on after Monday being off. And then we're a little bit red on the day today, okay? This is huge because if we got a clear reclaim of this level between 57 and 58, 5900 on SPX, that means we're back up into this top range, this topping range where we distributed, trying to break to new all-time highs. If we reclaim this range, likely you're going to get a push up to break new all-time highs. We break to new all-time highs on SPX, IWM starts running, Ethereum starts running, altcoins start running, we start printing cash. So we got to get SPX to break out to new highs, which would be this level right here, is that significant level, okay? Very significant level. If you want to call it from, if we do naked point of control from this entire range, let's take a look at what that looks like on a weekly basis. So fixed range profile. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, we're back above it. So from here, the origination of the move, and we can even do it from this pullback here. Yeah, look at that. Even closer to this number, or to that number. Yeah. So this was a huge level for us to break past again, because this is volume from all the way back in April of 2024, from when we bottomed here, and then this entire range was created, which then was also bottomed out in here, right? So this would be the range that we're in. Within this entire topping range, this was our naked point of control at 5,600, 5,659. So within this region was very significant. We reclaimed that. That is huge for the bull market to be able to continue, because now these positions were defended from a buy standpoint. So these people were back in the green, back in profit. Huge. Sellers are forced to get out because they're underwater and either flip bias or get out of their sell positions, right? Which is huge. So love what I'm seeing on SPX right now. That's confluent with what? DX, or not DXY, VIX, which is now starting to get crushed again. So we go back on a daily. So remember, whenever VIX is trending down, okay, whenever VIX is trending down, that means equity markets are moving up. Okay, when this spikes, that means equities are going down, okay, in value. So before, what had happened was we had this crush from April, from the tariffs, when we had that big nuke in equities. We've been getting crushed pretty consistently all the way down. And then what we did is over here on this weekend, we created a gap on the VIX chart. Gaps get filled, right? We've talked about this before. Why do we take a look at CME gaps, at gaps in equity markets, charts, etc.? The way that these like to trade is at some point they want to fill the gap that was created, get that liquidity. Okay, so a gap was created actually on the VIX here, which meant at some point this has to get filled again, likely. Well, we come back down lower, and then look, we spike, and we cover. We close this entire gap. Now that the gap is filled, we pump all the way up into here. Look what we start doing. As soon as the gap gets fully filled, we start to push back down again. So what we need is a move on the VIX, maybe like this, or who knows, maybe coming straight down, right? But it might do a retest of that level and come back down like this. If we can get the VIX to come back down into this level where this demand zone is, where we were running. So notice how last time we ran hard in altcoins and in crypto was whenever the VIX was down in here, May of 24. There's trading in this demand zone down in here, okay? Last run up we had, December. We topped out in December on altcoins and crypto. Look where the VIX was at, in this demand zone, right? December 2023, we had a run up in crypto, right? VIX was down in this zone. VIX was down in here on that run up. VIX was down in here on that run up. In December, November, VIX was down in here on that run up. So we want to see the VIX get crushed all the way back down into here. If we can get the VIX back down into here, get equities ripping into new all-time highs, etc., that's going to be fantastic for our altcoins and crypto. So we got to pay attention to the VIX getting crushed back down into this range, this demand zone, okay? We want to get it back down into there. So that's going to be between 14 and 11.5, 11, okay? So that's beautiful. So SPX, we reclaimed that. Here's another thing I want to take a look at on this chart, okay? bull market trends, okay? So we have a bull market trend on SPX and on a couple other charts that I want to show you. That's important as well, okay? So here's the bottom of the bear market. And you could draw a couple different trend lines. You could either draw it from here. Oops. You could draw that trend, which would look like this. On a regular mode, okay? So there's a couple different ways you can look at this. Here's the bottom of the bear market, and then we start trending up. So you could call this the bull market, start of the bull market. If you draw the trend line like this on SPX, and trend lines play on these major equity charts, okay? If you draw the trend line from here, we actually got a perfect retest of this trend from the bear market low into our bull run in equities on this nuke. So technically, drawing the trend like that, we never lost our bull market trend. So whenever this wicked down in here and it got sucked back up and closed up on this trend line, you should have looked at that and said, all right, I need to bid my fucking face off here, because now it's obviously tough in the moment whenever it's scary. I'm bidding my face off because we actually just retagged that bull market trend line and we popped right back up. So until you lose this trend line, technically, you have not lost your macro bull market trend. And then if you do it on a like this, similar. So, you know, you came back down, you kind of lost it here, came back down lower, reclaimed it, retested it, and pushed back up on the log. So for all intents and purposes, the bull market trend is still intact on SPX. Bullish. Okay, that's good. I mean, it's just still the trend. So look what I noticed on these other charts too. So in log mode, you can do it either way, however you want to draw it. This one's clearly a lot better trend in regular mode. So here's the bull market trend on the US 100 index. Okay, same thing. Bear market low, right? Take it from here. You get 1, 2, 3 tags. Okay. We lost the trend, which is scary. Bearish underside retest. We nuked it down. Look what we did here recently. Reclaimed it, retest it, boom, pushing back up. Huge. Okay, so this is important for context to see what's going on in equities. That's for that one. So we reclaimed the bull market trend there. So we got the bull market trend on the SPX. We got it on the US 100. What about Dow Jones? Still got it. However you want to draw it. Still got it. Perfect retest, pushing back up. Looks good there. IWM, different chart. This is in a sideways range, but pushing back up. Okay. QQQ. Look. QQQ. Bear market low. 1, 2, 3. Lost it. And this is how you can trade these charts effectively. Look, you lost it, bearish underside retest, nuked, reclaim, retest, pushing back up. Reclaimed the bull market trend. So all of our major indices are either still in or have reclaimed their bull market trend line. Huge, because that's why we can flip bullish macro bias, because everything is back in a bullish uptrend. Okay, here's NVIDIA, right? Range lows, push back up, you're likely to get range highs. If you get range highs again, you may break out to new all-time highs. Okay, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Here's the big issue that we have. In equity land, this is the only real big problem that we have. We need U.S. government bonds, the 10-year yields, to be below 4.5%. Historically, years that bonds have been above 4.5%, the return on equities has been 2 to 3% for the year. Historically, years that U.S. government bonds have been below 4.5% yield, equity markets have returned 20, 30%, much higher. Okay. So we need Pompino and company to get this number to come back down. Okay. Because as where it stands, this is an issue. Okay. This is an issue. We need to lose this demand and start breaking down again, which we were earlier. Before, we were looking beautiful over here because we topped, started nuking, losing levels, but then we reclaimed. We need to lose this level again. Okay. Historically, why? Because when these yields are much lower, investors are incentivized to take money out of treasury bonds and rotate them into risk assets because the yields are low. It's not good. It's not a good return. So the last time we were down here, September 24, April 23, December 23, we had a run up. We were up here during our last run up, which is good. So it has happened before, but we want to get this number to come down. Okay. It's the only issue I see right now for equities in that space. Okay. What time is it? 12:53. Okay. Got a couple more minutes. So, all right. So I showed you HYPE. I showed you PURR. Two fantastic altcoin plays. I'm showing you equities bigger picture. We're getting the local pullback on Bitcoin. Okay. Here's the last thing I'll show you on Bitcoin, then we'll get out of here. I do what the fuck that is. There we go. Okay. So here's what we've got on Bitcoin quickly before we wrap this up, just to give you some context. Okay. So obviously Bitcoin is the end all be all. This makes sense what we're doing right now. Okay. So here are the major levels. Let's actually get rid of this now. Okay. Here are the major levels. February monthly open. You see confluence there. That's where we were chopping right above the monthly open. Where else did we chop within the range? 2025 yearly open right here. Boom, boom, chop, broke out. Okay. So we broke out of the macro range with the highest weekly and daily closes in history on Bitcoin. What are we doing now? We're likely going to get a retest, right? This is very normal. As soon as you break through resistance, it's very normal for you to come back down, retest the resistance, and see if you turn this back into support. So it would make sense if Bitcoin comes all the way back down into 106, okay, retest the top of this range, and then fucking rip, okay? So that would be best case scenario. I've seen other people that I greatly respect, say that we're probably going to get something more like this. And clean up this inefficient move that did not get taken care of. Okay, that move right there is an inefficient move. There's nothing in this covering up this candle. So this is a fair value gap. Okay, so this fair value gap, people have been saying that they're expecting a retest of this fair value gap, which would be from here to the top of that candle. So a full refill of this FVG from that candle, that pump, would be all the way back down to 97 to 96K. Okay, that would be the furthest pullback I would expect, and us still be fine. I don't think that's actually going to happen. Personally, I don't. I know people who do, so it's possible. Those are your two scenarios. So your two scenarios for Bitcoin from here is you either come back down, retest the top of this range, and then just fucking send it. Leave everybody with their fucking pants around their ankles that were waiting to position, thinking that they're going to get this move. Or you could get the full refill of the FVG, which makes sense. Maybe even come back down, tag the bull market trend line, and then do a ripper. This would be max pain, the second scenario, okay? But it's possible. It is possible, right? Personally, though, like I said, I'm not expecting that move to happen, okay? So you either fill this FVG, fair value gap, from this candle, this pump up, come back down to like 96, 97K, send it, or we send it from here. Either way, we're prepared for it. Either way, we're making money off of it. Either way, the gentlemen inside the Discord are about to make life-changing generational wealth. That's what's happening right now. What it was this right here. This is the wrong. This is supposed to be hype. What the fuck? No, this is equities chart. Here, beautiful. Okay. All right, gentlemen, if you're not already inside the Discord, link is in the description for the Taylor's code. I got to get out of here. Let's go rock it. We're going to be live again for the gentleman's code later this evening with Bobby. We got 20 plus live viewers across all platforms. Easy enough. Easy enough. Let's fucking rock it. All right. Join the Discord. Private crypto plays is going to be under the gentleman's package on the website. So you click on thetaylorscode.com. You go to thetaylorscode.com. You can join as a professional. You can join as a gentleman or as a hero. Each different tiers with access to different campuses within the private Discord. Gentlemen, you just want to get a part of the network. You want to be around me, the other winners in there, the other mentors, the other people that are making money. Excuse me, that was a professional. The gentleman's program, the gentleman's package is going to be the one you want for the private crypto play section of the Discord. That's where you get to see my positioning, what I'm buying, what I'm selling, when I'm shorting, when I'm longing. I'll work with you individually on your portfolio, what you have in there, what you're doing to make money. Do trainings, do live calls inside the Discord as well, etc. Bang, 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 bang. You guys know what it is. All right. Outside of that, we'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Ultimate Market Professionals. Ready? Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer. I got all them hoes.